Hello everyone, my name is Wedge. Now I know Standard is looking bleak right now, I get that, I do. But that doesn't mean there aren't opportunities to blow it straight to Kingdom Come. While Vehicles and 4-color Saheeli are going to be the most consistent decks, we've got a sweet deck that finished second place in a small PPTQ last month. The best part? The whole thing is $15. $15. If you want to build something on a budget that can steal games away from the top decks and win an entire tournament when it runs hot, you've come to the right place. To show you just how absurdly priced this deck is, we'll be using TCG player pricing throughout the video, and if you want to see the deck list in full or purchase any of this $15 strategy, you can click the first link in the description. Alright, time to blow Standard to pieces. Let's do this thing. Mono Red Vampires is a strategy that combines the two greatest things in red, recklessness and more recklessness. Since we're running vampires and no black at all, it's a pretty safe bet to assume we're utilizing a madness package here. We'll begin at the bottom of our curve with Bomac Courier. Vampire? No. But a more than adequate early game attacker that can enable madness as easy as pie, and potentially draws you a load of cards if you control the board long enough. Dropping on turn 1 on an empty board will usually guarantee you at least one card when you decide to discard your hand and madness the crap out of everything. Good start. Next up is Insolent Neonate, another auto-include as far as I'm concerned. After testing the deck for a bit, it becomes painfully clear that Michael Jackson is necessary in the strategy. Not only does it drop turn 1, but it's difficult to block, and again, easy as pie to trigger madness, and you get a card that replaces it. It's no secret that the Neonate has been a crowd favorite since release, but make no mistake, that favoritism is well deserved. It's truly a solid card. The last madness-enabling creature in the deck is Furyblade Vampire, a card that has absolutely flown under the radar since Eldritch Moon came out, but oh baby is this thing impressive. 2 mana for a 1/2 with Trample is hilarious in and of itself, but if you want to enable madness, this becomes a 4/2 Trampler for a turn and that's nothing to laugh at. It doesn't have haste, so you'll have to wait until turn 3 to attack, but when you get a consistent madness trigger out of the deal and an effective 3 more power on the board, you will take that. Furyblade is better than I thought it would be and punishes a slow start, especially from the combo or control-based decks. It's quite impressive indeed. So we have a bevy of madness-enabling creatures, which means we need other creatures to madness into, which thankfully we do not have a shortage of. Blood Mad Vampire is a key card. When it rains it pours, and Blood Mad Vampire takes full advantage of an undeveloped or barren board. With a cheap madness cost and powerful snowballing trigger, Blood Mad makes a solid budget inclusion in this type of all-in aggro strategy. Next up is another card from Eldritch Moon that hasn't garnered too much attention yet, Stromkirk Occultist. The 3 mana isn't ideal, but you can madness it for 2. It's already a 3/2 and it comes with Trample. In addition, the Occultist brings an extremely powerful trigger with it. Thanks to Trample, that trigger isn't going to be all that difficult to activate, and as you can tell from the cards we've looked at so far, the curve of this deck is pretty friggin' low. So you can bet that you'll be able to play most anything you exile with the Occultist, another strong creature at a cheap cost with a relevant trigger. It's kind of everything we want in a single card. The last creature in the deck, and arguably the most powerful madness reward we have, is Incorrigible Use. If you've ever played this card for its madness cost, then you understand exactly where I'm coming from when I say that its presence on the battlefield changes the pace of the game immediately. For 3 mana, getting a 4/3 haste creature is just craziness, and this part is most important of all. Furyblade Vampire can madness a creature onto the battlefield at the beginning of combat when attackers haven't been declared yet. Which means that you can play the Furyblade on turn 2, on turn 3 you can go to combat before attackers are declared, the vampire triggers, you play the use, and you get to attack with both. Yes, that's how the ruling works. As long as it's at the beginning of combat when attackers haven't been declared yet, you're in the clear. Talk about a synergy that will scare the pants off of anyone. A 4/2 with Trample and a 4/3 coming in turn 3, savage to say the least. With 22 creatures in total, we're looking at a package of 16 spells. Because we definitely don't have enough madness-enabling cards, Lightning Axe easily makes the cut. Think of a creature in Standard that you don't like, and the Axe can probably cut it in half straight away. Not only that, but you get a real cheap madness enabler to just pile on the wreckage. From Felidar Guardian to Heart of Kiran to Archangel Avacyn, the Axe is going to help out a lot with big threats, assuming the game gets that far. If it doesn't get that far, then that Scrap Heap Scrounger will never know what hit him, poor guy. When we add more madness enablers, we obviously have to add more madness payoffs. The deck includes Fiery Temper because in this deck it's basically Lightning Bolt. Let's just be real about that right now. I can't count the amount of times I madness this card. I almost never had a situation where I wanted to cast Fiery Temper and couldn't pay 1 red mana to do it. Next to incorrigible use, or probably even more than that, this is the best payoff in a Madness deck. Lightning Bolt, for all intents and purposes, is in this strategy. Card is way too good not to play. Avacyn's Judgment, while not being Fiery Temper, is basically Fireball when you Madness it, but even better. In a deck with as much madness as this deck has, the Judgment, much like Fiery Temper, is going to do a lot of work for very little cost. Especially against something like Vehicles that carries around a ton of low toughness creatures, a single Judgment cast from Madness will wipe out most anything they're working with. Or you can use it as a Giant Blaze. It doesn't matter. Hits anything you want, from creatures to faces to planeswalkers, who cares? Another gigantic payoff card for what we're working with, can easily steal games out of nowhere and help you catch back up on a board in case things aren't going as smoothly early on. The last non-land card in the deck, Incendiary Flow, and this is for two reasons. First, I think we needed a piece of non-madness based removal just in case things got hairy. Second, this is the ultimate anti-scrap heap scrounger card. It's amazing against black-green. We're talking about a burn spell that is absolutely positioned for greatness in the meta we're dealing with right now. Do you know how many times Scrap Heap Scrounger has come back? Too many would be the correct answer. But fret no more, because Incendiary Flow doesn't care at all. It stops the Scrounger itself, it stops the Scrounger's enablers. Anything it kills, gone. This is the perfect last burn spell in a deck designed around ruthlessness. Incendiary Flow, good stuff. All that leaves the lands. Now the deck is pretty low to the ground, but we have to make sure we have enough mana to get things going, especially if we want to trigger Madness multiple times in a turn. 19 mountains are joined by 3 Looming Spires because the deck wouldn't be complete without a perfectly aggressive land. +1/+1 and First Strike, and this deck with these creatures, I guarantee you that boost is going to put one of your attackers over the top, assuming it already wasn't. Looming Spires is legitimately perfect in this deck. It's just perfect. Genius. Mono Red Vampires is all surface, no depth. The deck is designed to take advantage of slow starts and win games out of nowhere. Any mono red deck has the ability to run hot, and if this one gets a decent turn 1, turn 2, or turn 3, even the top tier decks will have trouble keeping up with it. At the very least, it'll force them to have answers they might not have. Honestly, think about it. Turn 1 Bowmat or Neonate, turn 2 Fury Blade, turn 3 Madness and Corrigible use. Even if they have one piece of removal already, they're still dealing with a heck of a board state, and even more cards in your hand. This deck is about providing pressure, so you always want to be playing cards. Get your Madness enablers out as early as possible, since they are the creatures fueling your aggression. Use your burn spells early and often. The last thing you want to do is fall behind on the board because you're too stingy with your removal. Use it as soon as you possibly can if anything legitimate is standing in your way. The key to winning with this deck is absolute ruthless aggression. Do not forget that, and please do not forget that you can Madness in the use to attack with Fury Blade Vampire. That ruling seems to be one a lot of players forget. Don't be one of those players, just wreck everyone. Let's talk sideboard. We're obviously in a meta ruled by cars and cats, which means that most of your sideboard is going to have to deal with that reality. Release the Gremlins is actually quite good, and I'd include at least 3. Vehicles decks suck, and sometimes need a little menace to stop them. Superb answer, and it gives you board pressure. You can't go wrong there. Now, along similar lines, Karizev's Expertise is a bomb decision. Active trees and effects have additional value in super aggressive strategies. Every point of damage you deal is incredibly important, so using the Expertise to grab a vehicle to crew yourself, or to stop your opponent from doing stupid stuff, could mean a win or a loss. You can blow out opponents with this card, and that doesn't even consider the fact that you get a free cast of another card in your hand. It's just a dumb card. Please play it. Now for the most important suggestion of all, play Key to the City in the sideboard. I don't like it in the main deck because it isn't great against a lot of other aggressive strategies, but holy crap is it important in control matchups. This card is designed for this type of deck, but only when the game is slowed down a bit and you're dealing with a higher than average amount of removal. Key to the City is a staple, but a sideboard staple. I honestly wouldn't run this deck without Key to the City in the sideboard, at least 2 copies, but honestly, you could deal with 3 and it would be just fine. Card is quite strong. You need it out of the board. You need it. Just trust me, you need it. Let me be clear. Mono Red Vampires is designed for one thing and one thing only: stealing games. When the strategy is working, there's almost nothing that can stop it. In the standard environment we're in right now, there's nothing wrong with running a wildcard deck that goes ham. And remember, the deck that can easily steal games from top tier strategies is less than $15 for the entire thing. By clicking the first thing in the description, you can see the list and get the entire deck so cheap. Incredibly cheap for how innately powerful it is. If you've been looking for something to sink your teeth into because you hate current standard, this is the way to go. Enjoy the chaos. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.